Remember the eggs that I picked up last night? 10 dozen eggs. Now normally I would take what I can use and I would leave the rest for whatever dumpster divers came along, or I'd pick them up and donate them to other families. Well, right now all the other people that I know are getting their eggs from this one lady who just raises her own chickens and has too many. So she's just giving them away. And I didn't want to leave them for fear they'd either get broken or there wouldn't be any dumpster divers that night other than me and hubby, because we were there pretty late. It was dark and we were, going through the dumpsters in the dark. Now, we found eggs in 3 different locations. So I really just didn't want a chance leaving them there. So I picked them all up, 10 dozen. And in the past, when I've just got 2 or 3 dozen and put them in the fridge, when they're gone, my kids are like, "Mom, I want some eggs." And sorry guys, you have to wait till I find them again. So this time I am preparing and I am preserving the eggs. Okay, so did you know you could freeze eggs? I didn't. But, Google's our friend. So here we go. The first thing I want to tell you is when you find eggs, check to make sure they're good. Now so far, I haven't found any broken ones. So 10 dozen, all intact. So far, all are good. Now I used to raise chickens, and so I know about eggs. And what you do is you put them in a bowl of water. If they float, they aren't good anymore. Eggshells are porous, and as they rot, spoil, the shell gets thin and air goes in there and it causes them to float. Okay, the gases are released, just like anything else when it rots, right? So put the eggs in the water and make sure they all sink to the bottom. And if you get any floaters, throw them out. Just the floaters, not all of them. And what I'm doing to preserve my eggs is, do you remember that whole set of plastic Rubbermaid sets with the lids that I got? They were just a little wet on the outside of the box and it's starting to mold a little bit, so they threw the whole thing out. They can't sell it in that condition. But nothing wrong with these plastic containers. So what I am doing is taking these plastic containers, because I don't like to store my cooked foods in them, because what happens is the kids will find my leftovers, microwave it, and eat it. I don't like to microwave plastic containers. I have glass containers for that. Microwaving food in plastic, the plastic starts to break down and the food gets really, really hot and it makes pits in the plastic, and that plastic gets in your food and you are eating that plastic. Okay, so there's I'm standing on my soapbox and I'm educating you. So I will not store cooked food in these plastic containers. I have glass. So I don't want to waste these. I am going to put my stuff in the freezer. So here goes. And I've done this with a lot of the other containers and just now getting around to film it for you. So all I'm doing is cracking the eggs and opening them up, because you don't want to freeze in the shell. You can risk them, expanding. Things expand when they freeze, and you'll end up with a mess in your freezer. So what I'm doing is putting these into what I think the servings will be. So I've got there were some real small containers, and I have 2 eggs in those for, any single person that just wants that many eggs. And then for the family, I'm thinking generally if the family's eating, it's going to be anywhere from 4 to 6 eggs. 2 for my son, 2 for my daughter. That would be the 4. And then if my husband is around to join them, then of course 6. I don't eat them. So I've got some containers that I stored 4 in. I've got some containers that I stored 2 in. And then now here is my 6. I've still got room in the top of the container for expansion as it freezes. And I've got my little handy dandy lid, and then I'm just going to pop that right in the freezer. Now, if you want to do these individually, if you've got some little containers and you want to do this individually, you can freeze these individually and then pop them out, because plastic, of course, is pliable. Squish it together, plop that egg out, and then you could always put them in your freezer bags and store them that way. I am just going to do some like this, and when I run out of these containers, of course, I've got 10 dozen eggs. They're not all going to fit in these containers, so yeah, I'm going to freeze them solid and then take them out, put them in the baggies, use the container to freeze some more. So there you have it, my good tip for today. Have a good day, guys. Be sure and like, subscribe, click that little bell for notifications.